Great to have you with us. Now, in our first story, the Tama West Assembly has demolished over 200 wooden structures along the Tama motorway. The area, Kiosk Estate, is home to over 500 squatters along the Tama motorway. Joy News' Matilda Wemega joins me live with more. Matilda, what exactly is happening now?
Daniel, as we speak now, the earth-moving machine is still here, pulling down the wooden structures that has been mounted along the stretch. So as we speak now, there's one earth-moving machine. I'm told that it's been sanctioned by the Tama West Assembly to pull down all the structures along the stretch. The pleas of the residents to allow them to even pack their belongings out of the structures are not being heeded. So most of these residents here are angry, some are anxious, they do not know exactly what is going to happen from here, Daniel.
What are they saying?
So according to them, they've been here for the past 3 years. Some have lived more than 3 years. And according to them, they pay some money to a landlord here. We do not know who exactly this landlord is. We do not know whether they pay these monies to the assembly or not. But according to them, you pay 150 cedis to put your structure here, to put your wooden structure here. Every month, you pay at least 20 Ghana cedis as your rent fee for using the land. So they pay these money to an individual who they say is a landlord of the area. And then they got a notification from the assembly some months ago that they should move from this place. But they haven't been told that it is today that the assembly is going to embark on this exercise. So that is what they are raising the concern for. They are angry that they haven't been given any final notice to move out of this place. They have their belongings, their properties, all those things in the kiosk. And then these officials from the assembly are just pulling down these structures. And we have some police personnel to here overseeing to this exercise, Daniel.
Now, Matilda, so you say they don't know who they pay their rents to?
So according to them, they pay the rent to someone they call Papa, who apparently is the landlord of the area. But we are told that this area is a government property. It's a government property. Exactly. It is not a place that they are supposed to live. It is just along the Tama motorway. Just right from the toll booth to the end of the motorway, the structures are listed just along the stretch, Daniel.
Thank you very much, Matilda Wemega, for that update from the Tama motorway. To the Ashanti region now, and drivers of the Metro Mass Transit Limited in Kumasi have begun an indefinite strike demanding unpaid bonuses and pension funds. They are also protesting poor working conditions and what they describe as unfair treatment meted out to them by management. The action was triggered by the dismissal of a colleague driver who had a confrontation with his supervisor last year. Passengers who had been stranded since yesterday had to look for alternate means of transport to their destinations. Here are some of them speaking with Joy News.
The drivers said they are angry, so no vehicle is moving today. This is because one driver has been dismissed unfairly, so they asked us to wait. We have all been waiting here since 4 a.m. A number of the passengers are stranded, but they assured us a vehicle will come and pick us, so we are still waiting to hear what they would say to us.
Since 4:30 a.m. and I want to go to school.
Where are you going?
Hohoi.
Hohoi. What have you been told by them?
When I reach here, I said the car will come, but later they come and tell them that the driver said they are not going again. Because at times they will alight as a roadside and some of the inspectors will come and inspect them and so many things. So they will not go. Now 7, so I came here for 30. So I can 3 hours. It's delaying my time. So if they will not go, when we came here, they have to tell us they will not go. So that when we pass at Accra.
Now, my colleague Erastus Asari Donko has more and joins us. Erastus, tell us about these stranded passengers. Where are some of them traveling to?
Well, so the 2 women we spoke to have since gotten an alternate means of transport and they've left. Likewise, other passengers who had thronged in there have also found alternate means of transport. Let me also say that we had other transport operators taking advantage of the situation, and so they've brought in their own private buses to fill the place, and they are now taking advantage, picking up the passengers from the terminal of the Metro Mass Transit to their destination.
Do the passengers have to pay more or less?
Well, it depends on the type of vehicle you are picking. So if, for example, you're picking the VIP or long buses, then you have to pay more. And definitely if you're picking the Sprinter buses as well, they have their own fares. It could be less, it could be more, depending on which vehicle you're picking.
Can you give us a background of this case, this sacking of a driver? What happened?
Well, so the drivers and other workers have been complaining about neglect. And they also complain about the fact that they think the company is being run aground intentionally. And managers of the terminal are interested in the money they are making and shipping the money across, but they are not reinvesting the money into the business. And so many of the buses have been abandoned because of pieces of gadgets that are missing, or perhaps hackers and other things.
Erastus, has management responded?
Management still says they've been asked not to speak to these issues, and that they are trying to get the drivers back on the negotiating table to be able to speak with them. But the drivers are not budging. They still maintain that they will not speak with the current administration. They want the authorities of Metro Mass from Accra to come down and listen to their grievances. Right.
Thank you very much, Erastus Asari-Donko, for that update. Now, away from that story, Emmanuel Ejafo, one of the 2 journalists arrested last Thursday by national security, insists he and his colleague were tortured while in detention. Yesterday, the national security denied claims by the journalists after the issue first came. But in an interview with Roland Walker on the AM show this morning, Emmanuel maintained he and his colleague were manhandled. He demonstrated what was done to him while in custody of national security.
By press releases, there are no contacts. You find the organization's name and then the name of the person who released it. You understand? Sometimes the person's designation. So I told them I'm not the one who wrote that story. It was my reporter who did the story, and he did it out of a press release. And they asked me, did I try finding out where he got the press release? And I said, he's a journalist and he should know his source very well. Then they gave it to me. And they gave it to me.
You mean said, continual slapping?
Yes. Because this person will slap, then this person will also continue.
Already your hands were tied behind?
Yes. So this person gives, this person follows. So back and back from here. You understand? So I told them, it's my reporter who did it. And he did out of a press release. And they asked me, so he didn't find out where he got a press release? I don't know, press release. If we media houses, we do share press release among ourselves. You understand? And sometimes you have to fish for news as a reporter. You have to fish for news. You don't have to sit in the office. But you need to know that, look, whatever you get from should have a contact. You understand? It should come from
a known source, an organization,
exactly,
or individual.
Yes. So we publish the story, and you know, when we publish the story, we attach the full press release for people to know that, look, this is where.
And you did that in this instance.
We did it in the story. I took them through the process and all that. So when we went through that, they told me to, well, since I cannot confess, I cannot tell who that Constant Kwabin is, it means I'm the one. And then I should stand up. I should go through another phase, which is a military style.
You mean after all this drill,
yes,
you had to go through another process of drilling? And which one was it?
So I had to lean against a wall with my legs up and my legs down.
You mean upside down?
Yeah.
As if you're exercising?
As if I'm doing a push-up with my legs up. I lean against a wall.
Upside down?
Yeah.
So your legs were up?
My legs were up.
And then?
Down.
On the ground?
On the ground.
Who was lifting you up? You did it yourself?
I did it myself.
And then what happened?
Because they untied my...
And then what happened?
So they told me to be there. So I did and did to a point I could no more do. Then the guy came. All of a sudden the guy came. The guy came and gave me a heavy slap on my back. Right. And I fell. And he told me that do hand press and stand up. And I did hand press, did hand press. He said stand up. And I said I can't stand up. Then he put his hand here. You know, I lay down flat. So he put his hand here and lifted me up. So he lifted me up this way. Then
can you lie down and do that?
No, someone else could have to have to do that. So I lay down flat.
So something like this.
Yeah. So something like this. So the guy lifted me this way, you know, and pulled this way. You see. So this way, when I was this way, then the other guy came, and then here, you see, and he hit me, and I fell flat.
On your spine?
Yes. On my spine. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
On my spine. I fell flat.
Quite the ordeal there. Away from that, young people in the Gambia are beginning to speak up about sexual abuse. This has been sparked by allegations of 3 young women against former President Yahya Jammeh. The 3, including a former beauty queen, have accused the former leader of rape and sexual abuse, but his party has denied the allegations. They are speaking up now because the over 2 decades of the Yahya Jammeh regime infringed on media freedom and free expression. As an event to launch a DW project, Voices for Gambia's Youth, panelists spoke about how to deal with the issue while empowering and educating young girls to speak up. One of them, a fashion designer, Yos Konate, shared her sister's story and suggested ways of fixing the problem.
The culture which was made or put together about 1,000 years ago is not the culture we should believe in now. I believe in the culture that is promoting respect, that is promoting unity, that is promoting sustainability, and that is promoting progress that we should follow to get onto betterment in terms of way of living. Because we have been taught to be silent, because we have been taught to not talk about our problems, so it goes beyond the education level. I think it's a campaign that we should do and go into the houses and talk to our mothers, our grandmothers, our aunties to understand that right now where we're living, we need to be more open to problems and societal issues that could help in the well-being of our people. And so if I say this, I mean being silent because you've been raped or you've been touched, it's detrimental. It's something that is not good, because I have a sister who has been raped. She's dead today, but before she died, she went through so many difficulties in her life. And you know what happened when she got raped? She was taken to the US because they thought if she's taken there, it could help her, not knowing that this is something that has been done inside you, and no matter what you have or what they've been putting, unless you go through a psychotherapy. But in her case, she did not go through that, but she was giving so much gifts, so much been done inside you, and no matter what you have or go through a...
My colleague Bernice Abubedulanta is part of journalists from other African countries participating in the event to share ideas with their Gambian colleagues. He joins us via Skype. Bernice, tell us more about Voices for Gambia's Youth.
All right, Dan. So as you mentioned, the 2-year here, many people who spoke up were either tortured, killed, or imprisoned, and so it created a culture of silence, and young people especially could not speak their minds. So what the DW is hoping to achieve with this training program is to help young people, young journalists, tell the story of 70% of the younger population, because in times past they've never had their voices heard. And that's why the DW is here to train young journalists on new media formats for social media, interesting, straight to the point, really catchy and trendy, so they can reach out to the younger audience and also help amplify your dreams, aspirations, and concerns.
What other key issues came up during the panel discussion?
There was the issue of education, quality education. You know, as we have in Ghana, senior high school is free, but here it is basic school that is free. And we had panelists, and one of them who was a teacher, talking about the quality of education. The audience asked questions on that. Unemployment was also very topical. 42% of the Gambian population is believed to be unemployed. And one gentleman who was from the Trade and Employment Ministry, he is Mamadi Damfa. He represented the government on that panel. He spoke about government's initiative to help train young people in soft skills. He gave an example of fixing of printers and photocopiers, which he said is a big deal and so government usually has to spend a lot of money buying new equipment or those printers when they can actually fix them. So they're training young people in the fisheries sector and getting them to acquire soft skills so they can get employed. There's also another issue about support for young entrepreneurs and the involvement of young people in politics in the country. And I was told by some of the participants that the president's advisor for the youth is actually over 60 years. They believe that's a no-no. They want to represent. They don't want politicians to only come to them when it's time to campaign and get votes. They want to be part of the political system. So those are some of the issues that came up during the panel discussion.
Thank you very much, Bernice Abubedulanta, for that. Now, some majority MPs have joined the opposition to oppose plans by Parliament to build a new chamber, insisting it's not necessary. That's coming up shortly. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Now, some majority MPs have joined opposition to plans by Parliament to build a new chamber, insisting it's not necessary. The issue came up for discussion at a meeting of the Majority Caucus this morning, and they are asking the Parliamentary Service Board to reconsider the decision. NPP Member of Parliament for Okaikoyi North and Deputy Sanitation Minister Patrick Boama says a new chamber is not a priority. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is Parliamentary Correspondent. He joins us. How is leadership responding to concerns from both minority and majority MPs kicking against the chamber?
Well, they say that this is something that was a decision of the Parliamentary Service Board, which we know comprises the Speaker, folks like former MP Amano Owusu, as well as the leadership of both the majority and the minority. And so for both the leadership on the majority and the minority side, they say that they would convey the sentiment of what has become to look like the rank and file in opposition to the plan to build this new chamber to the Parliamentary Service Board for a decision to be taken on that. But for now, we gather that in the next 2 days, one of such meetings of the board is coming off, and it will be a topical issue for discussion.
How soon will this decision be made or this feedback be given from the Parliamentary Service Board?
We gather that as latest by next week, that third planned meeting of the Parliamentary Service Board is coming on, at which the leadership tends to make this issue a topic on. But again, we're hearing that particularly for members of the public and also the press, you recall that this issue became mainly topical after the design for the chamber was unveiled when Sir David Ajayi, who is the designer, actually paid a courtesy call on the Speaker. But the plan is that as early as tomorrow, the leadership would be engaging the media to give further details for the benefit of the public so they can try to get people to really appreciate what this project is all about. Okay, so leadership of the House will be engaging the media from tomorrow? Exactly, that's what we gather. Even before the third effect at the level of the Parliamentary Service Board to really reconsider the decision or otherwise. Okay, thank you very much, Joe. But before you go, though, what else is happening in the House? There's been a statement from an MP on what has come to be known as the Sakawa Boy process and the activities which they say is creating a bad image for the country. And Dominic Nitiwo, the Minister for Defense, in contributing to that statement, cited an interesting example that a journalist marched 22 people to his office recently and claimed that they had communicated on Facebook and he had paid 200 cedis for each of the 22 people. So he was bringing them in order to get them enlisted into the Ghana Armed Forces. And he even warned the journalist that he's glad that he hadn't gotten him arrested. But the MPs and ministers are concerned they are being impersonated and are asking the security agencies to act and stop some of those situations.
Right. Thank you very much, Joseph Opoku Gakpo, for that update from Parliament. Now, the Plastic Manufacturers Association is not happy about plans by governments to levy them to establish a recycling plant. According to them, there's an already existing levy the association pays the government. The problem, however, is government is mismanaging the funds collected so far from this levy. Ebe Boche is with the Plastic Manufacturers Association.
In the world, that plastic is being managed without effective recycling. And we knew that government might not be able to sustain financially. That is why we did propose this bill. And this has been hanging in for all this while. When you have over 900 million, this money is accruing monthly, about 14.7 million Ghana cedis every month, which is coming in. This is quite conservative anyway. So for us, we can't understand why government will not release this money. In recent times, just about 2 weeks ago, the situation is just getting too much out of hand because we also did realize that the green government, i.e. the Commonwealth and some European countries, are putting enormous pressure on government to do some kind of a selective ban. Indeed, there is a project funded by the Commonwealth Secretariat, which is focused on Ghana, Tanzania, and Rwanda. And I think in recent memory, Tanzania has done some kind of a ban already. And there's so much pressure on Ghana government to do a ban. So we, again, apart from paying all these money, we've gone beyond to look at EPR and then PPP. EPR means Extended Producer Responsibility. And then the PPP is polluter pay principle. That whatever we are paying at 10% PET is from the manufacturers. But then we also want to get companies such as Nextel, Baltic, etc., to come in the loop. And therefore, that is where the EPR comes in. And then again, plastic waste or plastic packaging by itself will not go out to the street as a litter. It is the consumer who is causing it. So then when we bring in the PP policy as well, then effectively it will cover everybody. So we have gone ahead. There's a group, GRIPE. GRIPE is made up of 8 multinational companies, Nestle, Unilever, PZ, etc. So we are collaborating to make sure we get an EPR and probably to some extent a PPP in place so that if government is not releasing these money, we'll still be able to do something.
With me, Daniel Daz.